So, welcome to another episode of Inspired Good Fat Life. I just feel like amazingly joy filled today. I walked in today and the staff is humming, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. And it's just a really good day. It's a good day in the life. And so part of it is I've been working on the magazine today, our next issue, goodfatlife.com, if you want to go there and learn more. And we now have our headquarters. Good Fat Life is headquartered at the Brighton Lighthouse, which is our world headquarters. And it just feels like Disneyland for entrepreneurs. And I don't know, I feel like a little kid. So that happy note, I'm delighted to introduce our guest today, which is Dr. Kimberly Marooney. So, hey, there she is. So happy to see you today. And yeah, we were talking about humming for a sec. So I know you have something to share about that. And we're going to talk about when we're our best selves, right? So
Oh,
welcome.
absolutely. Absolutely. So do you want to start with the humming or the best selves first part
Well,
first?
let's start with the humming because you told me something that I had no clue about. And that's what I love so much about doing these shows and being with Good Fat Life is I learn so much. So all yours.
Well, I had the pleasure of writing an article for the next issue of The Good Fat Life that's called I Love Me When or I Love Me Here. I'm not sure what we settled in on. I don't remember. But it's I love me when, here, whenever. And you were just telling me that when you arrived at the studio, the people were happy and smiling. And one of the ladies was just saying, "Oh, I'm happy. I was just humming." And there's a reason why we feel happy when we hum. So that reason is that when we hum, here, hum with me.
Mm.
Mm, yeah, hum. Pitch doesn't
Mm.
matter. When you hum, you might be feeling a vibration in your head. Do you feel that?
Yeah.
Hum, see if you feel that vibration in your head.
Mm.
And as you change pitch, the hum moves around in your head. Like that is a little higher in my head. That's a little more back here. That's more kind of down here. That's more kind of up here. Those vibrations actually trigger divine connection and they trigger hormones that are happy, healthy hormones. And I know in Good Fat Life, you often feature what to do to trigger our happy hormones because we love our happy hormones. We
Right.
need them. And humming is an instant way to just do that. So if you
I'm
even
just
hum,
like, how cool is that, right?
well, to take it deeper, think about from a spiritual perspective, think about chanting, like think about what are you doing
Like, it's
when you
sound
chant that?
therapy.
First, first of all, you're using what some consider to be the default programming or like the DOS programming for our brain. So when you like at that pitch, I feel it in between here and in my head and in there. You're activating the pituitary and the pineal glands, which are triggering the God code, the God hormones, which help you connect with that happy, holy self. So that's short form.
Wow. And I must say, Dr. Kimberly she's a profession, is one of the many talents she has is being a professional flautist. Is that right? Used to,
I can't play anymore. I have an arm issue, but I was.
you were. And so this is not just something you read about, it's something that you know very intimately from the orchestra work you did and the music that you've done and just the spiritual work that you've done.
When you sing or when you play any instrument, for those of us who are musicians, or even those of us who like to sing in the shower or in the car as you go on your walk, you know that the vibration of your voice, the vibration of the instrument that you're playing resonates through your physical body. You can feel it. It feels good. And I can tell you, when I was an orchestral flutist, there was nothing in my life that compared to the feeling, the visceral, energetic, vibrational feeling of sitting where the flutes do, right in the middle, right in the woodwinds there, right in the middle of the orchestra, with the other strings all around and the other woodwinds and the brass behind and the percussion back there. And if you have a soloist or a singer, they're up front. And if you have a choir, there could be on either side or in the back. But the amazing feeling, the flutes are right in the center of all of that. And since I quit playing, it's just really disappointing to try to go to performances and sit out in the audience, because it's just not the
Not the
same.
same experience. That's so interesting you
It's
say
not
that.
the same.
That's so, because I sing in, our choir, local choir, and work with an orchestra, the National Arab Orchestra, and I often have the opportunity to be on stage. And I had you're right. It's magic, and we provide that opportunity for hundreds of students every year. So it's, thank you
It's
for
still
pressing.
magic out in the audience,
It
because you're
is,
still getting the power of that vibrational transmission
right.
coming from every member of the orchestra personally to you. You're still receiving the power of that vibrational transmission into your body. And when you know that, when you can tune into it, when you can be alert for it and sense, how am I feeling this music? Not only how am I hearing it and what's it triggering in my memory of past experiences and thoughts, but how am I feeling it in my body? What's the full embodied experience of
That's
receiving
right.
this sacred transmission of sound that's coming through the orchestra or the choir? That's when it gets really interesting.
Or, and if you're not with an orchestra or choir in the moment, you can hum,
You can hum.
right? You can hum or sing. So, what I'm hearing that uh, whenever I talk to you, it's like always a delightful surprise, and like Mary Poppins for me. Um, I never know what's going to show up, right? But so, as we were looking at this topic and the article that you had written about, I'm my best self when or here, I was thinking it was like there's one place that I'm my best self. But what I just realized, the aha, is it can be many places or in many situations I'm my best self. And how exciting is that?
I'm glad you mentioned places, because one of the things we can do is cultivate a happy place to go to, well, just a happy place, to cultivate a happy place to go to. And we can use that happy place as a resource. So, I got two examples for you. One is, I happen to live in the Olympic Peninsula in an incredibly gorgeous place. And as you can tell, it's a little chilly here. You can tell it's much warmer where Sherri is. We're on a cold front with cold air blowing out of the mountains today. And rising up right behind me to the south of me are the Olympic Peninsula, the Olympic National Park. So the mountains rise up from sea level to 8,600 feet in just a few miles. So it's very steep terrain. It's amazing. The mountains, the snow, there's always
It's
snow up there on the
gorgeous.
top.
Yeah.
And so there's a hike that I like to take. I live not far from the entrance of the national park and Olympic National Park. And so I can easily go there. So for a while last year, 2 or 3 mornings a week, I'd go really early, and I'd go have an early morning 90-minute hike up to my favorite spot, my magical happy place, which is, just close your eyes and imagine with me. So you're in the middle of this incredible forest, one of the most beautiful forests I've ever seen, and I've seen a lot. And there's a creek running down. It's a beautiful creek. It's not too small and not too large. It's just right. It babbles and chatters and pops and splashes as it rolls down over the rocks coming down the hills, because it's fairly steep. And then there's a footbridge across it from one side to the other, because you have to cross the creek. And at times of year when it's really raging, most of the year you could just wade across and just get wet up to your halfway up your calves. But there are times in the year where it actually gets kind of dangerous because there's so much water. So the Park Service kindly put this incredibly picturesque bridge across it. And this bridge is a log. They've flattened the top of the log and scored it so you don't slip. And then they've built a handrail of other smaller branches. And then they've built other logs and some stones that are stepping stones to get you up onto this log. So you walk across the log with that safety of that, nice handrail. And then what I like to do is stand in the middle of that bridge. And first of all, to face the water coming down the hill, to feel all of that good vibration of the water and the flow and the motion and the angelic forces coming down through that water, passing through my body. It's like an instant reset. This is why this is my happy place. It's like an instant reset for everything. And our body is 80% plus water. So this water energy with all of the undines and the other water devas,
Ions and
ions, the positive ions
yeah.
are coming down. They're moving through your body. And if you're an empath or a sensitive like I am, I can feel the instant transformation in my body with this blessing of the water elements flowing through me. And then I recently learned that if I turn around and I put my back to it, so first it's coming in through the front of my energy system, my chakras. And then when I turn around and put my back to it, it's coming in through the back. And if you know anything about chakras, they're like, there's a middle point and then they open out going both ways. So they open out to the front and they open out to the back, kind of like a whirlpool coming
Spiral,
out.
yeah.
So like that. So it feels really wonderful to not only get the front energy blessing, but also get the back energy blessing. And for those of us who are Reiki practitioners or the radiance technique or hands-on, any kind of hands-on healing touch, any kind of hands-on healing therapy, to work on both the chakras in the front and the back and to get a balance. And they feel differently on both sides. So it's really beautiful to get that balance.
So you would say that that's what that's a place where that you're your best self, right?
And I can go there in my memory. So I go there in person, I cultivate the feeling, how it looks, how it feels, how it smells in different seasons, when it's covered in snow, when it's in the summer and the wildflowers are all in bloom and there's a lot of water running. Um, so in between, when it's foggy and it gets this really sacred
Mist.
mist,
Mist?
right? Mist.
Yeah.
The feeling of protection comes around in that mist. There's a different feeling. So in my life, when I'm having a challenging moment, that's one of the places that I can go to remember my happy self, my best self, my beautiful self. So I've cultivated several of these happy places.
Got it. So what I love about what you're saying is because my perspective, as I was saying, within the last 24 hours, 3 people have said to me, when I do X, I feel my best. And I didn't prompt that. I just said, oh, we're writing about that in the magazine, right? And it was a little different than what you're saying in the sense of it's like when I eat, one of my colleagues is like, when I eat um, organic, grass fed, fatty meat, and that's pretty much all I eat, I feel amazing. I have energy to burn. I just feel amazing. Another person said when I do, when I arrange to meet a friend and go to the gym at 6 in the morning, I feel so good. And then the next conversation, and then the next kind of comment was, so why, when I know this about myself, why don't I do this more often? Right? And so what I love is that you've added a dimension to it. So it's not just about when I do X, Y, Z, um, which means you have to take an action, right? And do something to put yourself in that state. You're saying there's also that visualization. I can go to a place and feel that happy place as well. So the truth is, there's lots of things we can do. We could
Yes.
have a dozen of dozens of these.
Dozens, dozens. That's where our toolbox comes in, or our treasure chest. I like to think of it as my treasure chest. What can I pull out in this moment to support my needs of the moment? So it could be that something gets sprung on you, and all of a sudden at the last minute, you have to prepare for a podcast. Well, I've got 3 minutes to get ready for a podcast. Now what? Well, lipstick. Okay, lipstick. Doing my lipstick. That helps me get into it. I got that. Okay, I've smoothed down my fuzzy hair. It was fuzzy. Okay,
I
I've
have that
taken a
going
breath.
too.
I've
So
had a sip of water. Okay, just quick, simple things. I can breathe into my heart. I can take a moment to hum, and I'm here. I'm ready to go.
I love that. That's like real time stepping into those things that we feel our best when. So I'm taking a course with Julia Cameron from The Artist's Way,
Yeah, the artist's way.
and
Morning
and
papers. Yeah.
morning pages, yeah. And so one of the things that, well, there's a couple things actually, is that I, until you just said this, I didn't connect the dots. Is that an artist date? One of the things that is that you take an artist date with yourself. And I was talking to mom with 3 kids, a single mom with 3 kids, a little while ago, and she loves morning pages too. And I said, when I was in that boat with my 2 kids, going to the grocery store could be my artist date, right? I could make it into an event because we had to get food, and sometimes it can be a chore, and it's like, how do I switch that to make it special? And I feel good when I'm reading the labels on the whatever, or looking at the different spices and making it fun. So we're doing this exercise now where we have to come up with 25 things, but that's really 25 things where I feel my best when, right? So I see you've got something to show here.
I do. So let me tell a story before I reveal this beauty. Um, so I recently went to France with my sister and her husband. It was a work related trip, and one of the things I did was anoint new angel ministers, which was really fun. And my sister was one of them, which was double the goodness. But we've all been at home for a long time with COVID, and I used to travel quite a lot, but the last 3 years, no travel. And same with my sister and her husband, no travel, all of us. We've all been in some version of lockdown for the last couple of years in COVID. And so taking this trip to France was really magical. And it was this trip to France that actually inspired this I Love Me When. And it was my sister. On the very last day of our trip, we're sitting in this cafe in Lourdes in France, on this beautiful river through the middle of Lourdes, looking at the downtown area, watching people come and go from the giant basilica and the holy water in the cave and everything, about Lourdes. And my sister was just beaming. Now, she is somebody who has lived in tremendous stress for a long time. She's got a stressful job. She's a mom, she's got kids. Her husband has a stressful job. There's a lot of stress in that family. So it took them nearly 3 weeks to really let go of the stress and get to the point sitting in that cafe where they were truly relaxed. They were radiant. It was an unusually beautiful day. The sun was shining. The weather was perfect. The birds were singing. The water was twinkling at us. And my sister says, I love me here. And I realized, yeah, I love me here too. So that's one of my happy places that I go to. I go back to that spot. And then we also talked about, well, how do we bring this back with us?
Mm.
How do we work with this in our everyday life? How do we carry this home with us so that we are actively engaging with this goodness, this happiness, this energy that we experienced on this trip? So, speaking of an artist state, one of the things I like to do is called junk journaling, and I do my own version of it. This isn't quite junk journaling, but I've made this
That's the best.
treasure chest of myself for this journey. And it is mostly actually out of junk. So the cover is made from an old hanging file folder. I did go buy some material at the fabric store. I bought this beautiful braiding to put on it. I bought this ribbon. No, I had this ribbon. I bought this to act as a handle because I like it when there's a handle for my fun stuff to play with. And then on the interior, these are made from used file folders. And so I printed the pictures of the most relevant moments and made them into these memories. Like this is a pocket. So one of the rosaries that I got, let's see if I can do this upside down and backwards this way, fits into that pocket. So I've got my treasures because I had them just kind of all over the floor. How do I keep my treasures so I can find them?
In one spot, right?
So then I have to pull it out of there to turn the pages. So then I just made this treasure chest of my favorite moments of the trip with all of these little pockets and a map and, things. Oops, things falling out here.
So, well, that's quite a project.
It was. So this was my artist date with myself. And I did this over a period of a month so that I had these little special artist dates working on each little part. And I love it now. I love to come back and work on it. I've got a section yet to be. So here's the file folder that's yet to be.
Yet to
I've got
be,
another
okay.
envelope in here that just it's literally just an envelope I get a statement in that's getting ready for a project. So let's see this one. Which one was an envelope? One of these was an envelope.
So, but I guess the
This
relevance is,
this one
oh,
was
go
an
ahead.
envelope. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So the
So
relevance is that you get to you've created a way to um, bring those moments, I love myself moments when into into the future,
right,
your
and
present day and into the future.
I've made a treasure chest. It's a keepsake treasure chest of my favorite photographs and the beautiful things I got. I got from Lourdes. I got several because people call me when they're sick or when somebody's sick, and this is a rosary from Lourdes that has a little bit of holy water in it.
Mm.
So, as an example, one of my people in my community just told me that somebody in her family is having a really hard time, has been in the hospital for a while. So, I happen to know that she would treasure a rosary like this. So, I'll probably mail it to her for her family member. And so, in the meantime, I've got a place to keep it so I know where to find it. So,
That's my one of my I love me when I can find things
I
easily,
I can
right?
find these easily, right. So that's one of the
So
reasons why I made this, so that I can love me when, because I know where it is.
what it
I can
is,
find it, I can play with it, I've got another little card here. I might send her this one instead, which is holy water. Let's see if I can get the water right. Holy
oh
little
yeah, I
vial of
see it.
holy
Yep.
water.
Yep.
And then on the back, there's a prayer to Our Lady. And so it's just a really sweet little prayer calling for healing. It's not exactly in the language I would use, but that's okay. It's a starting point, and it's calling for healing.
There you go. So, well, thank you so much for bringing that article or that idea to life in a bigger way because I have to say, in this last 25 minutes, my mind has just been, that concept has been blown open because there are opportunities all day long to be, I love me when, or I love me here, or, right, choose me, I love me, fill in the blank, right?
Mhm.
Wow.
And we can think of those as holy instants. It's a holy instant when we have that moment. And then, as one of my mentors said, you could think of that holy instant like a pearl, a precious pearl. And then she would, at the end of the day, as she was lying in bed going to sleep, she would review her pearls from the day.
That's a great concept, a beautiful idea.
and go to sleep in the love from those, each one of those pearls that she came across during her day.
During the day. And if you could just say that those are the I love me whens. I love me whens. What a
Mm-hmm.
beautiful thing to do. So,
And if you like prayer beads, it doesn't matter what they are. You could even use your prayer beads, in a unique way of, oh, I had an amazing conversation with Teresa today. I had an amazing conversation with Sherri. I got to share my love on a podcast. Hmm. Look at all the beautiful things I get to do today. I got to spend a moment with my husband down in the kitchen, um, just kind of on the fly as I caressed his hair and gave him a kiss on his cheek. That was a precious moment. I got to remember how wonderful it is to just hum.
to hum.
Oh, I
Yeah.
got to put myself back in my holy place on the bridge in the woods. And oh, I got to put myself back in the holy places in Lourdes, my three favorite places in Lourdes right now. And I got to remember when I lit that candle, that incredible giant candle in Lourdes, and pray for my community, the people in my community. So many beautiful memories, however you want to look at them.
Oh, well, I just have to thank you. Like I said, it's like Mary Poppins. So I'm going to go dig out my beads because I know where they are. I know where they are actually, and I can start this. I can expand on my love me and when. So it's not just I love me when I go for a walk. The truth is there's hundreds of them, right? And so I'm
Yeah.
so excited. So I'm so excited for our readers to get to share that um,
And
those your
and you'll
words of
find one
wisdom.
more one more little trinket I can't help but share. You'll find if you use beads, the more you infuse the beads with these holy moments or these I love me when moments, the more when you pick them up, just picking up the beads, you'll feel that vibration, that frequency of I love me when moments, of peaceful moments, of joy moments. And then your beads become a reference, a resource, and you can even wear them, which I often like to do. You can wear them and have them around you, and it's really natural to kind of during the day while you're going, just here's one. Oh, I love me sharing this moment of love. I love you sharing this moment of love.
Wow.
It can be that simple.
It and it is that simple, right? And we make it so much more difficult than it needs to be. So, well, on that happy, love-filled moment, I just want to say thank you to Dr. Kimberly Marooney from Gateway, who's president of Gateway University and chancellor there, and for joining us. And I didn't mention, she's got books that have been, published in 35 different countries. Do I have that right?
Yes.
Yes, many countries.
Yeah.
And there's so many things about you that just add to everything that you say.
Some of you may be familiar with my angel blessings cards of sacred
Yes.
guidance and inspiration. And we happen to have Archangel Shamuel, the angel of adoration. Let's get it out of the there
Yep. Okay. We can
on the
see it.
front.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, it's beautiful.
yeah. So bringing in that energy of loving adoration, which is these holy moments. It's when we feel loved, adored, loving. We can
Wow.
cultivate. Another thing I like to cultivate is I am loved, I am loving, and I am lovable. Another one of my favorites.
Well, on that happy note, we are going to say thank you so much for being here. And if people want to find out more about your angel cards and your books and all your loving guidance and thoughts that you have published so beautifully in 35 languages, we'll have that in the show notes. Okay. Well, thank you. And thank you so much for joining me on such short notice. We had some little time zone challenges, and it all worked out. And it all worked out beautifully, right?
It all worked out beautifully.
And
Yes.
thanks to Johnny here at the Speakeasy podcast for making it work. So, all right. Well, on that happy note, check out Good Fat Life. I'm here. Good Fat Life at goodfatlife.com. We've got our next issue coming up in the next couple weeks, and it's a spectacular one. I find myself humming a lot just with the joy of working on it. And go out and live your good fat life.